in my opinion, he would be the best fit when you think about Kyle Shanahan and what he wants to do with his offense, a mobile quarterback, a quarterback that can make every throw, deep, short, sideline to sideline. I like Justin Fields. However, when you look at Mac Jones and Trey Lance, I don't see what they're so in love with when it comes to Mac Jones. And I'm not saying he's not a good player. I think he's a good player. But the upside, I don't see it like Justin Fields or even Trey Lance. And in my opinion, for me, I think if you're going to go between Mac Jones, as the reports are out there, Mac Jones and Trey Lance, if that is your two guys or top two guys, I would like to see them go with Trey Lance because you have Jimmy Garoppolo still under under contract. He's your guy. Trey Lance would have a year and a half, a year to really sit, watch, and allow Kyle Shanahan to just mold him into what we believe he needs as far as his maturity level because of his lack of play. But he has the higher potential. I just don't see the Mac Jones. I think he's a good player, but nothing jumps out when you watch the tape of Mac Jones. He does some really good things, but he also had a phenomenal offensive line. He had tremendous talent all around him. So it's almost like his riches were so good to where you kind of knock him just slightly. At least I do.
Well, I'm going to have to knock you a little bit this Monday morning, Greg. I'm sorry to do this because you know I love you. But look, I'm like you and everybody else. All right. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, in that order. I think everybody sees it that way, and you can, change out who's two, who's three. But those are the top three. But when you think about Mac Jones, and here's where I'm going to knock you is, is that the only thing out there that is bad about this kid is that he played in the SEC, that he went to Alabama, that he has Nick Saban as his coach, and he has all this talent around him? Isn't that what we're all trying to do in sports, is create a team that can win championships? Why are we knocking the kid that came in and did nothing but win at a high level? We're knocking a kid that came in and balled out. This is a kid that has two things, and you need both to be a quarterback at any level. You got to be smart. And when I talked to Devontae Smith, and I shared this before, he said, Brandon, he's like a borderline genius. He's smarter than some of the coaches. He knows everything. He sees it before it even happens. So he has that. And then when you talk about throwing the ball, no, he doesn't have a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields or even a Trevor Lawrence arm, but he is probably the most accurate throwing the deep ball. He is accurate throwing the football. And when you think about today's game, we're seeing guys come in who are cerebral and who can see it and they can call it, come in and play at a high level because you got coaches and you have offenses that are more sophisticated and changing. Like back in the day, Dragon Lion was Dragon Lion, double stick and double go. Like it was just fundamentals. We played against cover 3 and 3 buzz. Now we have these gurus and these little boy geniuses sitting up there and just creating this sophisticated offenses and complex situations. And if these guys can come in, they can get the job done. And Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a guy that I truly believe, Nick, in a couple years, if this report was true and the 49ers pulled the trigger on Trey Lance, we could be sitting here 3 years from now saying, wow, that was a bold move that paid off because everything is there. He has the smarts and obviously the talent. We all can see that. It takes you don't need to be a veteran scout to see that this kid can throw the football, he can run, and he's big and all the other stuff that comes with him.
Oh, yeah, you could argue the upside for him is the highest of anyone in the draft, maybe other than Lawrence. But so I understand why people could fall in love with Trey Lance. That's about the only part of this I do understand. Can we put Wilds on the screen with me? Because I think Wilds will appreciate this and maybe help me through this, all right? Let's use, to me, hey, Kevin, this is what's happening. Let's pretend, Wilds, I call you up, and I'm like, hey, I got major life announcement. I'm quitting my job.
What is it?
I'm selling my house and I'm moving. And I've narrowed it down to 2 options for where I'm going to go. All right? You ready for it?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Here, I want to show you. I'm going to text you. I'm going to text you the listing. Oceanfront condo in Hawaii. I'm considering that. And a 1,000-acre ranch in Wyoming. It's one or the other. You might be like, well, those are two very, very different things. And you've made a major decision. You've quit your job, you've sold your house, and you're choosing between that and that. There are not two quarterbacks more different than Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Option A is a guy who's played with a ton of pros against great competition with the best college coach in the world, and the question is, what is his ceiling? Option B is a dude who didn't even play last year, playing Division II football with no other pros around him. I don't see how you can come down to those two things. They're so different. Like, how can you love both of those players? Does that make sense? Like, there is no similarity between the two, which is a further confusing, it adds to the confusion. If they were saying we have it down to, let's say Zach Wilson was still available, we have it down to Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, then it's like, oh, okay, I can see why you would see things in both of those guys that you like. Hey, they both did that fancy rolling to your left, throw across your body throw. That was fun. But Mac Jones and Trey Lance, their draft profiles are more different than any other two quarterbacks. So how do you end up saying, I want either to live on the beach in Hawaii or a ranch in Wyoming? I don't get it. So I don't understand how these could be the two guys the Niners have landed on, and they don't know which one they want.
That's what I'm equally confused. I also don't know Jimmy G's role in this, Greg. Like, if they draft Trey Lance, who's 20, are they expecting Jimmy G, who has been basically kicked to the curb, to mentor Trey Lance through this entire year, a la Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes, and then give him the car keys and just say, oh, see you later. Oh, by the way, I did go to the Super Bowl. Sorry I missed that one pass, and now you're ready to, jettison me out of here. Or does it go the other way? Does Jimmy G say, you know what? I'm done with this. If you guys draft Mac Jones, run the Joe Burrow playbook. Won a national championship, start week 1, give him the car keys and go. So, Greg, what do you think Jimmy G's role in this?
2 cars.
How does this play out for either quarterback that they draft?
Well, for Jimmy G, he's playing for his future. So I think it works out beautifully for the 49ers ultimately, and it could work out great for Jimmy Garoppolo. Because, again, he's playing to solidify himself as an elite quarterback in this league. He's suffered a ton of injuries. He's not been available. There's been flashes, and yes, he has won, but has he won at a consistent rate of being healthy? And we haven't seen that. And so the 49ers are saying, okay, let's give ourselves the best of two worlds. And when you talk about mentorship, and Brandon knows this, not every player, just because he's a veteran guy, is going to reach out and mentor and open arms and say welcome. But as a rookie, coming in, it is your job to watch, to observe, to learn, to absorb so much information, regardless if somebody's holding your hand or not. So whoever they bring in, I think they will benefit by just watching Jimmy Garoppolo run this offense, listening and being taught by Kyle Shanahan for a year versus coming in and just being thrown in the fire.
Yeah, you know what, Greg? You're right about that. And the Shanahan's been here before. And I say the Shanahan's because, Coach Mike Shanahan, who's retired and we haven't seen, on the sideline or in the booth for in a very long time, he's still involved. Let's not, get that twisted. And Kyle Shanahan, these guys are bold and they're borderline cocky. Go back to 2006, the year you and I was drafted. Who went 11th overall? It was Jay Cutler. The Denver Broncos was coming off an AFC championship appearance. Jake Plummer played sensational. We go into 2006 season. Everybody loves Jay Cutler. They pulled the trigger on this guy. And some even said they took him a little too high. And then 6-7 games in, we were actually winning ball games. I think we may have been 5-2. I'm not even sure. And the offense just wasn't clicking the way Coach Shanahan wanted it to click. And he pulled the trigger right then and there. And so they've been in this situation before. I think you're right, where this kid can come in and they're okay with him sitting, whether a couple games, a half a year. And if Jimmy G balls out, they're okay with him sitting the entire year. So we'll see what happens. But this organization, this coach, and Kyle Shanahan, they're bold, they're borderline cocky, and they'll know when to pull the trigger.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.